Episode 46 of the Interpretation Station is called to order. Bienvenidos, señoras y señores. Yes, as you can tell, whenever you hear me butchering the beautiful Lusophone tongue of the greats like Gil Vicente, Bernardino Ribeiro, Luis de Camões, Romario, Ronaldo, the fat one or the pretty one, whichever you prefer, Anderson de Silva. Yes, it means that it's time for our new weekly feature from the Interpretations new star collaborator, Mr. Brandon Malt. So yes, Brandon is going to be delivering in his own refined, inimitable fashion today's Portuguese tutorial. Best thing for me to do is really just to get out of his way and let him get on with it. So Brandon, over to you.
Thank you very much, Roland. Welcome, everyone. Bom dia, boa tarde. This is the second Portuguese to English interpreting tutorial that we are going to be doing, and I'm delighted to present this speech to you today. It was a speech by the Portuguese Prime Minister, Antonio Costa. And for those of you who don't know, Portugal currently holds the presidency of the Council of the European Union, and I think it lasts for the first 6 months of this year. And that means that you'll find lots of speeches by Portugal at the moment in a European Union context. So this speech was given about a month ago in Brussels, where there was a conference on the future of Europe. I highly recommend you give this speech a try because Antonio Costa is quite a hard speaker to do. I know it took me a couple of months to get used to interpreting him. But I will include the link to that speech in the description for this video, and you just have to find that speech in that video because it starts about halfway, but you'll find it and I'm sure you'll do a good job. So either right now you want to pause this video and go ahead and do that speech yourself and then come back and listen to what I have to say, or you can do this ahead of time, look at my notes and then go and tackle the speech. Either way, I think you'll benefit. So without further ado, let's get started. And this time I'm going to say every sentence in Portuguese, and then we're going to look at it together and look at the highlighted bits. So let's start with the first paragraph. Quando por toda a Europa enfrentamos uma pandemia que gerou a maior crise econômica e social desde a Segunda Grande Guerra. He's saying, right now, at a time when across Europe we are confronted with a pandemic which has created the worst social and economic crisis since the Second World War. Gerar uma crise could be create a crisis, has led to a crisis. And then he's used an interesting adverb down here, the adverb afincadamente. So to fazer fincapé in Portuguese is to be stubborn, to dig your heels in. And in this case, he said, os profissionais de saúde lutam afincadamente para salvar vidas. Now, you might want to, if you're not trying to save time, you could say the healthcare workers are stubbornly, doggedly fighting to save lives, but that's a bit much. I think I would just say, in our hospitals, healthcare workers are battling to save lives. You've preserved the meaning, and you said it with fewer words. He says, quando estamos num contrarrelógio para a vacinação. He says, when we are in a race against the clock or race against time in terms of vaccination. Then he goes on to speak of falência. He says, quando milhões de trabalhadores perdem o emprego e milhares de empresas enfrentam o risco de falência. When millions of workers are losing their jobs and thousands of companies or businesses are on the brink of bankruptcy. I haven't used the word risco, risk, but I think that brink of bankruptcy is just fine. Moving on, he speaks about a convocação da Conferência sobre o Futuro da Europa. Convocação literally is like calling the conference, holding the conference. That's why I've put down holding there. I think that holding is excuse me, is a lot better. It's a better option for this case. Let's look at this paragraph here. He speaks of superar uma crise. It says, a confiança de que venceremos a pandemia e superaremos a crise. The confidence that we will overcome the pandemic and weather the crisis. I think weather there is the best because you really said overcome for vencer a pandemia. And we're going to see just a bit later, we're going to have to try and find our alternatives for vencer a pandemia because it comes up a lot. So here we go on this paragraph. This comes up in French as well when you say je me félicite de. And here it's the same. Congratulamo-nos por. You definitely cannot say we congratulate ourselves for. That sounds ridiculous. I would say we are pleased or we are delighted that we've been able to, and then continue. So the whole phrase is this. Congratulamo-nos por ter sido possível ultrapassar o impasse que nos paralisava. Now, it's true. You could say we're delighted to have overcome the impasse which paralyzed us. But the most natural English way to say that, I would say, would be we are delighted to have been able to break the deadlock. That sums it up so perfectly, and you don't lose any information. And just towards the end of that sentence, the second sentence there, he says, trabalhar para alcançarmos este acordo. So alcançar can be to achieve. I don't think that achieve an agreement is the most natural way to say it. I would say to reach an agreement. So they've worked really hard to achieve this agreement. In the final paragraph of this page, we have, I haven't highlighted it here, but the phrase sem tabus, without taboos. I think that it's okay to say without taboos, but the most natural way to say it, I would say, is candidly, as I've put over there, frankly, openly. And then this, confrontalidade, is to do something head on. So let's take up the sentence and see how it goes. Mas é precisamente por isso que a Conferência sobre o Futuro da Europa é um momento decisivo para discutirmos, sem tabus, com frontalidade, a diversidade das nossas visões. Here I would say it is exactly for this reason that this conference on the future of Europe is a decisive moment for us to discuss candidly and head on the diversity of our views. Okay, let's go to the second page now. Here he says, e o tempo dessa discussão é agora, porque temos de nos preparar desde já para quando vencermos a pandemia, estarmos prontos e não perdemos nem um segundo na construção do futuro. Okay, so once again, he's used the word vencer a pandemia. The best thing for us to do is to find an alternative, otherwise it gets a bit repetitive. Here we could say to beat the pandemic or to defeat the pandemic. Choose one, and if vencer a pandemia comes up again, choose the other. Also, I haven't highlighted it here, but perder nenhum segundo. It's not to lose 1 second, but it's not to waste 1 second. Uma perda de tempo is a waste of time. Here he says, a união precisa de se reforçar com a força da cidadania. The union needs to grow stronger with the force of its citizenship. Sounds very Portuguese and very noun-based. I would say the union needs to strengthen itself just with its citizens, because it's implying that the citizens are its source of strength. Let's move further down, and in this paragraph, he speaks about as variações da conjuntura. Okay, let's look at the whole phrase. Para além das variações de conjuntura, o Eurobarómetro dá-nos retrato muito nítido das questões que continuadamente mais preocupam os nossos concidadãos e que exigem a nossa resposta. I've put fluctuations down here for variações de conjuntura. Conjuntura is basically the way things are. It's the situation, it's the current climate, and so definitely the most natural there would be just fluctuations, the ups and downs of our times, And then for retrato muito nítido, I've said paints a clear picture. Retrato could be a portrait, I think. So you could say that, but the most natural, once again, is just a clear picture. Concidadãos. I would say compatriots sometimes, but fellow citizens is also very good. And then I've just highlighted alterações climáticas because in Portuguese that is the term we use for climate change. I believe in Brazil the term is more mudanças climáticas. Correct me if I'm wrong, because my Portuguese is more European and African than Brazilian, but I know that this is definitely the word for climate change in European Portuguese. Let's go down to another phrase here. Temos uma agenda estratégica para o futuro que une as instituições europeias em torno de desígnio comum. We have a strategic agenda for a future which unites European institutions around a common or shared purpose. I think shared is the better alternative in this case. And he says we must promover os interesses e valores europeus na cena mundial. I wouldn't say on the world scene. I would say we must promote European interests and values on the world stage. Further down, mas precisamos que os europeus abracem esse desígnio e o sintam como seu, porque são eles, afinal de contas, o seu destinatário final. Abraçar esse desígnio I have made to embrace this purpose, referring to the desígnio comum, the shared purpose that we spoke of just now. And here he said, literally, they must feel as if it's their own, which is a bit word heavy. I would just say, see it as their own, take ownership of it. So in total for that sentence, I would say we need Europeans to embrace this shared purpose and to see it as their own, because they are, at the end of the day, the beneficiary, or perhaps the end beneficiary. Coming into the second last paragraph of the speech, he says, porque nos vai permitir trazer os europeus para o espaço público. Here, I definitely would not say bring Europeans to the public space. I think the meaning behind that doesn't come through clearly enough. I think you could very well say this conference will give a voice to Europeans. And then in the middle of that paragraph, para que as políticas públicas possam trazer respostas concretas às necessidades do dia a dia dos cidadãos, para que nenhum cidadão se sinta deixado para trás. He says, this is so that public policies could deliver tangible responses to the daily needs of our citizens, so that no citizen, or so that no one, feels left behind. Concretas, I would render tangible in most cases. And then finally, he ends off by saying, não podemos perder mais tempo. As we said, perder tempo is to waste time. Here, I think the nicest, most English of ways to say it is to say, no time to lose. There's no time to lose. And then he says something in English. So I thought about this for a bit, and I thought, if I were interpreting the speech and the speaker went on to speak English, and I was quite far behind him in my interpreting, I would simply repeat what he said in English, or at least paraphrase it if I have to. Or if you're keeping up with Mr. Antonio Costa and he starts speaking English, you can simply turn off the mic and your audience will hear the original in English. Well, there we go. That's the second Portuguese speech that we've now done together. I look forward to many more, and I hope this has been of great benefit to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Brandon. It was another very interesting episode. I mean, I don't speak Portuguese myself, but again, I picked up a couple of very interesting things watching the video. So, guys, if you like the video, please, you know the drill. Smash the thumbs up button. Spread the word to your friends. If you like what if you like what you're seeing here, Brandon hopefully is going to be doing a weekly tutorial for us. So there's going to be lots of good educational material for all you Lusophone speakers, both English A's and also, of course, those who are looking to add an English B. I think you'll find it very helpful, the stuff that Brandon is doing. So yeah, get subscribed, tell your pals about it, and that's pretty much it for today. So, episode 46 of the Interpretation Station is adjourned.